Hey guys, welcome to another video. When I made this channel, I had some intentions to give foreigners advice for when they wanted to move to Japan, as well as other Japan content. So of course I will be doing tip videos and also other videos of exploring Japan and kind of showing my own perspective of Japan. So this video is going to be another tip video. I know I've made a lot of tip videos recently, but rest assured, a video about Japan where I will go out and record some stuff, that will be coming very soon. I have plans for videos like that as well, so please look forward to those. So with all that being said, let's get started with the video. So for the first tip, transportation is paid by most full-time jobs in Japan. So when I moved to Japan, I had no idea about this because I'm from America and I have never heard of a job paying for your gas or your car when you get hired for your job. So when I first came to Japan and I heard that companies here pay for your transportation to get to work, I was absolutely mind blown by that. I couldn't believe it. But of course, not all jobs pay for your transportation. Notice when I said full-time, so you have to be a full-time worker or seishain job or even a contract job, but you have to work at least full-time. There are some part-time jobs that do pay your transportation as well, but not all of those provide that. But I've noticed that most full-time jobs provide transportation, and some of them even go as far as paying your entire transportation as well. Some of those do have a limit, so maybe it could vary from $100 a month to $150 or $200 up to $300. The max I've seen is $300 a month. Now, I don't want to say transportation costs that much, but it depends on the people with high qualifications and they live a little too far, but that company really wants that person based on their qualifications, so they may pay the extra bit. But of course, they will always consider the people who live closer for that job position. So if you get a job where they only pay a bit of your transportation, but then you look on your phone and then you see, oh, my transportation for this job doesn't cover, what do I do? Well, you're gonna have to pay the difference out of your own pocket. But of course, some jobs take that into consideration. So if you have to pay too much out of your own pocket, they may not give you the job to begin with, just to save you the hassle. So when you're out job hunting, you want to look for those jobs that provide full transportation pay, or at least to cover the expense of your commute from your house to the job. And don't forget too, the commute has to cover from your home to the job and also from the job back home. So you basically have to add those two numbers together, and that will be your transportation for the day. And then just go ahead and multiply it by, I'm not sure if it's 29 or 30, but that will give you a rough estimate of how much your commute will cost. Number 2, get a job that provides all insurances. When you're looking for that job, you want to look for a job that provides the base insurance that you need for in Japan, which is called Shakai Hoken. So when you're applying for jobs, maybe they will put down, we provide full insurance coverage, or they may just call it Shakai Hoken, but they usually just put it in English, but they may put it in Japanese as well. So you may want to familiarize yourself with the kanji, which I will put on the screen right here. There are also other insurances such as accident insurance, which those cover if you get into an accident on your commute from and to work. But the thing about those insurances is that they will only cover the commute that you have to take that covers your transportation fund. Going back to the first one, I'm sorry about this, but another important thing about transportation is that the company will always pay for the cheapest commute. So even if there's a commute that gets you home or to work faster, they won't give you the commute for that one. It will always be the cheaper option. So if you take a different commute, which you can, but just know that if you get into an accident, you won't be covered under the accident insurance if you get into an accident because you didn't take the commute that was written in the contract when you took the job. And with the company providing insurance for you means they will also do your taxes, so that will save you a lot of trouble when you come to Japan. Doing taxes in Japan can be very stressful. It's just as stressful just as back home, but here it's going to be a lot more stressful because everything is written in Japanese. So if you can't read Japanese, you're going to have a lot of trouble filling out those tax documents. So it's always worth getting a job that will provide your insurance because they will end up doing pretty much your taxes, so you'll be covered with that. Also, the other insurances that come with the Shakai Hoken are also unemployment insurance and your pension plan as well. So you will be covered under those. And as you can see, there's a lot to pay for and also handle. So it's best to just get Shakai Hoken with a full-time company and let them handle all of that stuff, because if not, then you will have to deal with all that stuff. And trust me, it's not fun to deal with all that stuff, especially if you don't know Japanese. So number 3, this one is an optional one for people who love the countryside. Move to the city, then to the countryside. So this is based off my experience. I first lived in Tokyo. It was pretty easy. There's a lot of English teaching jobs in Tokyo, so that was no problem. But now that I moved to the countryside, I quit my job. I had a part-time job as a backup, but that didn't work out so well. And pretty much I was stuck unemployed for a while, and I applied for many jobs, job after job after job. I think the biggest reason for that was because I was applying for jobs in Tokyo, but I live in Saitama now, which is a little bit more outside, and the part of Saitama that I live is more out in the countryside. Because Saitama also has a close connection to Tokyo, but I moved out to the more rural side. So this actually ties into the first one, where transportation comes in. A lot of companies don't want to pay a lot of transportation because that's an even bigger investment that they have to put on you. And it's also worth noting that the transportation cost is not included in your salary. So you will get your salary paid in addition to your transportation cost. To give you a quick example, in one of my jobs, they paid my transportation every 6 months. So there's a system in Japan where you can get your transportation fully paid for 1 month, 3 months, and 6 months. Most jobs do just 1 month. I think it's just because it involves the risk, of you quitting, so they kind of want to take that precaution. But some jobs just go ahead and pay you the 6 month because it's less hassle on them. But as you can see, jobs have to really invest in their employees here, so they're always going to take the cheaper alternative. And note, this is all due to the reaction that I got from the employers when I went for my interview and we discussed where I lived. So that's why I think this is very important to know if you decide to live in the countryside. So my advice is to first move to Tokyo, secure a job there that you like, and if you want to live in the countryside, after you've gotten that job, it would be safe to move to the countryside. And some jobs may even transfer you to another school or another branch depending on what your job is. But you will have to check with your job to see if that option is available. Number 4, make sure you bring important documents. I think this one goes without saying, but you'd be surprised about how many people still forget these important documents. And there was actually one that I didn't know that we needed until I actually got here. So as you know, you're gonna need your normal important documents such as tax documents, diplomas, references, basically stuff that you would need to secure a job here in Japan as if you were trying to get one back home. The one document that I want to mention that you're gonna need here is basically a proof of driving record. So that can be an insurance card, your old driver's license. And notice this one's gonna be more towards American people because we have to retake the test here in Japan. For other people in the UK and other countries, you guys are exempted from this, so you don't need to worry about it. And I know some states in America also are exempted from this. But if you come from a country or a state where you have to take the test here, you have to provide some sort of documentation that proves you drove for at least 3 months in your home country. Usually, if you have a current valid driver's license, you will be okay. You need to prove that you drove for at least 3 months. Of course, if you don't want to drive in Japan, then you don't have to worry about this. But it's very ideal to get a car, especially in the summertime. This year is my first year living in the countryside during summer, and trust me, it is hot. So take my advice. If you live in the countryside, you want to get a car. But once again, just don't forget those important documents before you come to Japan, because you will need them. Number 5, you still have to do taxes from your native country. I'm pretty sure some people already know about this, but I met some foreigners that moved to Japan that didn't know about this. And yes, you still have to do your taxes. Even though you do taxes in Japan, you still have to do them and report those taxes back to your home country. You can do this by having a family member do it for you. You can go ahead and send them a scanned document of your tax form that you get from your job if you get the Shakai Hoken, or you can get it from City Hall if you enroll in the Japan National Insurance. And this is also very important to know. Just because you pay taxes in Japan, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are exempted from paying taxes back in your country. So taxes done here are different than back in your native country. For example, some Americans have to still pay taxes even though they pay their full taxes here in Japan. Of course, it depends all on your salary and some other exemptions, so you may want to talk to a legal advisor back home or have a family member talk to somebody back home about all that stuff, and they can do your taxes for you. And for the last one, some apartments come with appliances and other services. So when you apply for a job in Japan while you're living overseas, some companies will help you with your housing. They may have a contract with another company that can provide you an apartment, or they may just help you find an apartment once you get here. When you're discussing these terms with your job, you may want to ask them if these kinds of services or appliances come with your apartment, because you want to make sure that before you move there, you don't pay the extra money and have those appliances already, and then when you go into your new apartment, they're already there. Or if you've heard from somebody and already expected them to be there, and once you get there, they're not there, then it may come at a very inconvenience for you. So you always want to make sure you ask those questions when you're discussing the terms with your soon-to-be employer. Appliances may include a fridge, a microwave, a washing machine, lights. So these kinds of things may be provided with the apartment already. And for the other services, some apartments may already come with internet, so you also want to make sure you have that as well. Just please note that not all apartments come with this. Just be sure to ask your soon-to-be employer if the apartment comes with all of these appliances and services. And in addition, you also want to be sure where your apartment will be and how much your rent will be once you move to Japan. Some jobs don't disclose of how much your rent will be and will stick you dead in the center of Tokyo, and your rent will be beyond belief. Just know that once you live in Tokyo, especially in the busy parts like Shinjuku, Shibuya, Harajuku, your rent's gonna go up and your room's gonna be small. And this is due because they don't want to pay for your transportation, so they want you to be as close as you can. And you know, they're doing you a favor by keeping you close to your job, but if the job's salary doesn't pay enough for your rent, or if you are still paying off student loans, then that can be a severe hindrance. You always want to be sure to ask your employer all those details. Where's my apartment gonna be? How much is my rent gonna be? And also, some of them may not even pay for your services like internet, water, gas. Some of them do, but not all of them do. So you always want to be sure to ask those kinds of questions so you know exactly how much you're gonna be paying for once you move here. Because I've known some people who did that and they had a lot of bad luck. They were paying so much money for their rent and their utilities that they didn't even have enough money to send back home to pay off for their student loans. So you want to be sure and do your research of how much it costs to live in the area where you're gonna be placed. And so that's it for this video, guys. I hope you found it very helpful. If you have any further questions or ideas for another video, please be sure to put it in the comments. Don't forget to like it, and lastly, don't forget to subscribe. Also, it's worth noting that I stream on Twitch. My Twitch is twitch.tv/chaotic/. I'll put it somewhere here because you can see it here. I pretty much stream every day, but if you have any questions, you can catch me live on there, and you can talk to me on the chat and ask me any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer any. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you.